Welcome in, everybody. We got some late breaking news, but breaking news on the side of sports drama nonetheless. Welcome into Mailbox Sports, Postman 1914. We bring to you today a subject that I am slowly trying to work my way into understanding, which is the world of sports drama. And today, our drama focuses in primarily on the man on the screen, but we will get into a couple of other guys if you didn't see the thumbnail. Got a mystery box for you just the same. And my question is, because I think on the whole, there's an understanding that controversy of any sort or any speculation to illegalities could render you to lose a job or lose the opportunity to have lucrative jobs, no less, especially in the sports world and in sports entertainment. But my question is more so, will some of the shenanigans, we'll call it that have recently transpired be a sound enough reason ever for the social media space to ostracize or eliminate the opportunity for some of these persons to make major revenue? When I speak of the opportunities for revenue, we know streamers can bring in thousands to millions of dollars annually. And the question will always be, due to the gravitas or perhaps the popularity, for an easier term, they are able to pivot, see a Shannon Sharp from major network TV and still capitalize in terms of their financial earning abilities on the social media spaces, the YouTube platforms, the TikToks, so on and so forth. And so the question will be, how do those things come about? But before we get to that particular judgment, hit that like button, share the content, tell somebody to come on in again so they can watch the content with you. Help me get some opinions about this as we dive into the alleged drunk driving incident involving Paul Pierce. Another scenario, well, actually two other scenarios where we have people involved in similar events, and the last one actually accompanied by some video. Pains me to put him on the list, but I have to do so in the event of just being fair to all sides and wanting to be able to answer the question holistically. How, if any way, will they be affected when we speak about earning potential? So let's go ahead and get into it. It's a rainy day outside in Cleveland, in case anybody wanted to know. But will legal issues begin to prevent streaming revenue in the future? Falling asleep at the wheel. We know what Paulie does out in these streets. Paul was alleged. Let's go ahead and get into what's going on with Paul asleep at this wheel. Because everybody in this country is innocent until proven guilty. I'm only guilty of not turning my camera on because some days you feel like a cam-less morning. And my off days are typically some of those days. So afternoon, morning, don't really matter. Let's get to it. NBA champion, basketball player, and Hall of Fame Paul Pierce, or Hall of Famer, I should say. Paul Pierce is facing 2 criminal charges stemming from an arrest earlier this month in Los Angeles. This is per TMZ, by the way, in terms of where I get my reporting news today. Per TMZ, he was reportedly charged with 1 count of driving under the influence and 1 count of driving with a, is it 0.8 blood alcohol content level? Now, those are alleged blood alcohol levels. We know the limit that you need to be at to be actually considered under the influence, which is that 0.8. They allege Paul to be under the influence, and we will read it as such. It says, Pierce, 48, was taken into custody 14 days ago, which would be, I will go with 16 now. I had this in the pocket for a couple of days. And those 16 days ago on suspicion of DUI. My apologies. He allegedly fell asleep at the wheel of his Range Rover October the 7th. So this has almost been 4 weeks to the date. But who was it? I want to say Los Angeles or California Highway Patrol was arresting officers in this. I didn't really realize so many highway patrolmen were doing such stand-up jobs out here in these streets. But traffic is where they say he was sleeping in his Range Rover. He was approached for questioning by the officers, and the officers claim that he showed signs of alcohol impairment. TMZ is reporting that he will next month face arraignment for this particular charge. I won't give you a misrepresentation of what the word arraignment is, but it does seem to understand, under my particular understanding of it, the act of it is scheduling an arraignment, and we're gonna find out what that It's different from an indictment. My apologies. We got a long tongue twister going on. But the purpose of an arraignment is to formally inform the defendant of charges against them. So that's what that is. And then that allows you to plead guilty or not guilty, which I'm sure Paul will plead not guilty because, why wouldn't he? I didn't do it. Allegedly. You can't prove it. Allegedly. And the fact that they give you alleged blood alcohol levels and say that he appears or shows signs of impairment gives the illusion that as much as it may be wanting to be true in any capacity, it is only your point of view. Next clip will show us that Paul says he screenshotted the whole situation out here where the cops or the highway patrol allegedly caught him sleeping. And his caption reads, "Imagine being stuck in a standstill traffic for 45 minutes and falling asleep. I took this picture that night because I never been in standstill traffic for this long. I'm old, I'm tired, and I fell asleep. I'm good, y'all. Thanks for the love." So, if you can see the picture to the right of Paul in the basketball uniform, we have a clear flow of traffic that is heavy. I do see a lot of brake lights that indicates that they are being slowed. And it could lead you to believe that they were all actually in stop. Like you could have put your parking brakes on. So my first question would be, did the cops catch Paul sleeping with his foot on the brake? Was he resting his eyes with the brakes or the car in park because he was in standstill traffic for 45 minutes? One would lead you to believe, and I've been in traffic jams such as these in Chicago, there are times when people have turned their car off due to this particular delay when it comes to traffic. So if you were to get a 45-minute traffic delay and you were sitting in this traffic here, would you, A, look alive, stay alert, keep trying to inch along as far as progress would take you at a minute level? Would you put the car in park and wait until you saw significant movement go before you actually went ahead and proceeded? Or would you altogether shut off the vehicle to conserve gasoline? Because 45 minutes in, if you really set that long, this could drastically affect your fuel levels. God forbid this was in California. The results of it in December in the Midwest probably wouldn't render a favorable result. So, to Paul's defense, he is saying that he was not, in fact, impaired. He may have been groggy, or just waking up, so still getting oriented to his surroundings right then, because he could have legitimately went on ahead and went to sleep. California Highway Patrol, while we speak of this sleep and this accusation of intoxication, CHP has indicated to TMZ that they have yet to receive results to establish his blood alcohol content. That's what BAC stands for, if anybody is wondering out there. So they haven't even got results back for his blood alcohol content level. Nonetheless, you have people that are already alleging that he was under the influence and that he had a 0.8 blood alcohol level. So if he had that 0.8 or 0.08, whichever I can't remember offhand. I don't drink much, so I wouldn't be under the influence driving, and neither should you. Get a ride share or stay your ass at home. Nonetheless, the reps added that a local crime lab is responsible for processing the sample that would prove in terms of his toxicology, and a timeline for that result is unknown. So by the time arraignment comes around for Paul at the end of the month, this particular situation could be resolved. Or we could find that he indeed had a blood alcohol content level that was above the legal limit, and the two charges that he is formally being arraigned and charged with may have some merit and may stick. If those do happen to stick, Paul has a Truth After Dark podcast, and one has to question, would there ever be a line for social media, i.e. the big boss or the big engine of YouTube, would they consider altogether banning certain streamers if DUIs and anything that might be of that level or worse in terms of crimes committed, would the platform begin to distance themselves from these people? You know, Shannon was not proven guilty. Shannon did a court settlement. However, the networks, due to their visibility and want to stay pristine and pure, decided to part ways. Whereas YouTube does not see things in the same way as the societal government or what have you at this moment, at least in my estimation. And so the question has to come about as to whether or not they would actually consider demonetizing or banning you from a platform because of things that go on outside of a day-to-day. And we do see that a lot more athletes are starting to come up with their own YouTube pages and social media presence or what have you. Some of them still look to find media jobs in their respective sports as a moonlight. And so you have to wonder, at what cost will these alcoholic shenanigans, and I use the term alcoholic very loosely. I'm not accusing any of the people that we are speaking about of being alcoholics or suffering from any alcoholism of any sort. I'm merely using it in an alliterative sort of a descriptive manner, for lack of a better term. Nonetheless, they're still waiting on results for that, and you have to wonder if they're still waiting on results, why they would make the accusatory remarks about an alleged result they haven't received. I can only think that to be a sensationalization of sorts. And so it has to have you question, was Paul actually impaired? Or do you believe his version of the story? Because usually it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And typically body cams, I've yet to be able to find the body cam information. If anybody has any link that they can refer me to find body cam information about this alleged stop, I would love to see it. I did a light comb in the last day or so. I did not find very many things besides static articles. Nonetheless, if it's true, should incidents or will incidents like this lead to the loss of alternative revenue streams, you know, like I spoke of earlier, the YouTubes, the TikToks, IGs, so on and so forth? Will any of those companies begin to distance themselves or sever ties? I'm not certain at the moment, but it does beg the question as to what may be the limit. And speaking of the limit, we get into our next story here. Did a wonderful football player at a Texas Hold'em tournament reach his limit? Adrian Peterson is in the news again. Adrian Peterson, former running back of the Minnesota Vikings, is in the news for a drunk driving incident where he was alleged to be unconscious, inebriated. Pick the most damning word that they could use on news to sensationalize, and that will be the choice. And I do understand the gravitational pull that you might have to certain words, so that's what it is. Nonetheless, Adrian played at a charity poker tournament, I believe, and I could be mistaken on the actual level of it, but we can see the picture. And so the witness who was at the poker game photographed the football legend doing one of the hands. And he told TMZ that he saw Peterson drinking like a fish. Okay, so I don't know very much about the poker table. I don't sit around poker tables a lot. Do you typically notice, because I know people watch for mannerisms or what have you, do you notice if somebody is drinking a lot? And do you photograph them? Like, unless you're trying to glorify the fact that this was Adrian Peterson, what reasoning would you have to be photographing anybody playing poker having a drink? You see what I'm saying? So I would wonder where the footage came from, but also be cautious, Adrian, because you don't play anymore. Does not, I repeat, does not exclude you from being in the public eye. And some people are still going to want to hyper sensationalize anything or report the facts as such, if in fact they do see something. So it could be very true, could not be true. I will say that if we zoom right on in, we can go ahead and see right here that Mr. Adrian Peterson does have a bottle, a water bottle, and that water bottle, in case we didn't notice, that water bottle serves no purpose for what he has in it. Is he spitting tobacco in there? Did you run out of apple juice containers? Liquid looks a bit mixed. Maybe it could be just a Red Bull. He didn't want to keep it in the can. You could be a lot of things, but you never know. What I do know is, while he didn't have the smallest blind at the table, he sure didn't have a large pot. So he was on the ropes. And I will note that it is totally irrelevant to the story, but a witness also noted that they saw Adrian go back or return to his car several times for money at the table. So at that point, I can conclude that I made a misspeak. It could not possibly have been a charity event if he's retrieving money back and forth, but it could be speculative. Nonetheless, AP drinking like a fish. And you want to know, all day, were you drinking all day before you got to this wonderful poker game here? I don't know. It does tell us, again, that Peterson allegedly went on to bomb some field sobriety test. As you can see, we got the far away, and they say this is at a service station, I believe. I don't know how much it looks like a service station, but here it says he was thrown in the cuffs because he failed sobriety test, and afterwards, once he was thrown into the cuffs for the DWI, the docs state that a pew was discovered in the front passenger side of the glove box. Like, I hate when you say front passenger side. Like, where else would a glove box be in the vehicle? But I guess, if you had a car on the right with the steering wheel on the right, then maybe that makes sense. Nevertheless, that gun, pew, was discovered, and he was eventually taken to jail and booked on one count of DWI and one count of unlawfully carrying a weapon. So he didn't have a permit or whatever, I guess, for it. I guess it's open carry, but you still got to go ahead and get that permit. Peterson himself still has allegedly not come forward or made any statements with regard to this charge, but here it says he haven't commented on the arrest. That's what we know. And then my question for a person like Adrian Peterson would be, Adrian is not in the best of financial stabilities, if you would like to look at it that way. He's had a couple instances where he's had to file bankruptcy and some other things due to some bad investments or what have you. A TV deal or something else like that would really be beneficial for an Adrian, but after the alleged over-the-top discipline of his child, after the multiple under the influence types of charges here, I do believe he had a charge similar to this a few years back. Well, I think he was somewhat exonerated, but don't hold me to that particular. It's not documented, not been proven, but just trying to play back in my mental Rolodex where those things go. But it would, in some ways, preclude him from getting, future spot starts or spot jobs, cameo appearances, so on and so forth. But would it stop him from ever gaining the following that he would need to sustain on a YouTube or something, or would the vitriol be something that would keep him afloat? As long as the policy doesn't exist to keep them away, one would wonder what is in our code of conduct policies that would, in fact, get somebody removed from the platform. Somebody who wouldn't be interested in the platform but was due to be a play-by-play analyst for CBS before returning to the Miami Dolphins for 1 year. My wonderful quarterback, the last thing we'll cover today, is right over here. We got one former NFL quarterback, Jay Christopher Cutler. And what do we got? DUI arrest, body cam released. Let's see what they got going on from my boy Jay Christopher. First, he's presumed innocent till proven guilty, although Jay did serve 3 days in jail for this particular DUI. I believe he copped to it, but I've never seen this. But I watched a stream earlier today. Shout out to Chelsea Lynn, the big NC out there. Did a throwback of sorts for Thursday. And on her throwback train, we stopped along the ET streets. Watched a little Jay Cutler. So it got me to thinking. We have covered a couple of former athletes that have been involved in recent driving under the influence allegations. 3 is my favorite number. 3 is the number that I was appointed in my fraternal career, if you might call it, and it resonates very deeply with me. So for the third and final video today, we go ahead and analyze one Jay Christopher Cutler, and we try to surmise a understanding as to why these particular types of things keep happening to these athletes or any people in general, because I'm assuming that these DUIs are always happening. No one cares to cover it unless you can get a salacious headline from it. So I will say that the celebrity is maybe the detriment here, but also the decision that they're making may not be the best. So let's watch this video, and then we will find out, one, if Jay Christopher Cutler is innocent, although he did serve some time for this. Let's see how it went about and how it all came down. Let's go.
Officer with the Franklin Police Department.
It's Franklin, Tennessee, by the way.
Which vehicle is yours? The Ram right there? Okay. Okay, do you have proof of insurance and registration? Yeah. What's that?
You try to get away.
How so?
He was behind me. He ran into me. So I'm on the phone talking to the dispatcher. Then he whoops around, but he comes to a dead end. That's how we ended up right here. He was up there at the light. He ran into it. He couldn't go nowhere.
Okay. I see.
Alleged hit and run.
But my life,
License, registration, proof of insurance.
Papa, did he really hit you? So not only is Jay out here with the cops, they
Okay,
say
guys,
he's
so
a
listen.
hit and run.
Here's the deal. In the state of Tennessee, so first of all, I'm Officer Sprout with the traffic unit. In the state of Tennessee, there's two reasons why law enforcement doesn't do crash reports, okay? One is if it's on private property, which obviously this is not. It was on a public roadway. The other is if there's less than $1,500 worth of damage per vehicle. So that being said, there's obviously less than $1,500 worth of damage per vehicle. So what I'm going to have y'all do is I'm going to have y'all swap information, okay? So you're going to take pictures or write down each other's insurance information, your driver's license, and your phone numbers, okay? And then y'all are each going to take pictures of the damage, and then you can call the insurance companies, okay? Yes, sir.
What damage?
There is a small dent right here.
You want, we're going to get that insurance and registration.
Okay. So, you need to take pictures? Or I did?
Both of y'all need to take pictures of each other. Hey, sir.
registration.
It's a brother. Chelsea.
I'm advanced roadside impairment
You
detection
did.
enforcement officer. How much y'all you had today?
A little bit.
Okay.
Jay
Are
said
you
a
want to
little
do
bit.
some sobriety test for me and make sure you're okay to drive?
No.
Put your hands on your breath. Tammy, 10:15.
You see the diabetic patch on the back?
Hold on. I'm going to take stuff out of your hands.
That was kind of swift. He was
You're under arrest for
cooperative.
driving under the influence. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna pat you now. Do you have anything in your pocket that's gonna hurt me, poke me, or stick me?
Yes, sir.
Straight your feet apart for me. Okay, buddy.
My
I'm gonna
man,
take
Jay.
this watch off because it's going to really hurt if those handcuffs pinch against that watch. Okay, let's walk over here to my patrol car.
Did you try to pinch him with that watch?
Right on the back.
Yeah, that's... What's wrong with that?
Hey, sir. Can I ask you a question? How much alcohol have you had today?
No.
Don't lie to me. I'm an advanced roadside impairment detection enforcement officer.
Yeah.
How much alcohol have you had today?
A little bit.
Okay. Are you willing to do some field sobriety tests for me to make sure you're okay to drive?
No.
Put your hands on your back.
So Chelsea, I'm almost certain that he might have passed said field sobriety test. I believe the fact that he was already reported to be in an accident before they wanted to administer the sobriety test would be the only reason why I would say that he declined to take one. One, he did say that he was drinking a little bit, and because he was drinking a little bit, he could be at fault or liable for the accident. So in that investigation right there, once he kind of and you know, like I told you earlier today, when I say that he's a bit of an ass, it's a he got a famous meme out, Smoking Jay, and it says, "Don't care." I really understand that he knows there was nothing real serious about the offense. He know he was possibly in the wrong for the little fender bender. His eyes were a little glossy. So I will say that he was coherent, but I do notice the buzz because at first they asked that he was he drinking. His initial response was no, and then when the question was reframed and readdressed again, he said a little bit. The little shuffle off, like he got a lot of quirks to him to begin with, so I couldn't tell you that he did anything that would have me believe that he couldn't operate the vehicle. So I do believe that he can operate the vehicle. I do believe that there was nothing that would allow him to be impaired, as they say, or at least to the point that he was above the legal limits. I do think that he would have passed and been under said legal limit. What I'm not certain about is if, in fact, he was at fault for the accident, would they try to take into consideration that he was under the influence while he damaged someone else's property? So, in that regard, I'm kind of curious to it. And just like you, Chelsea, I am. I'm not much of a drinker, so I've not had many opportunities to even come about this one. And you would try to fail him so you can frisk him or something. You wanted to pad him up, didn't you? You trying to lock him up, but in a Chelsea lair, in a Lynn lair. That was you trying to lock him up at? I don't know. Let's watch the last part of it and see if he would have passed their test. Minute left.
Tammy, 10:15.
I didn't need 2 pair of cuffs. Oh, just one.
I'm gonna take stuff out of your hands.
I think it was aggressive.
You're under arrest for driving under the influence.
You don't care.
Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna pat you down. Do you have anything in your pocket that's gonna hurt me, poke me, or stick me?
Your mom.
No, sir.
Did he have one of those insulin needles with him?
Start your finger part for me.
Let me see them shoes. Jay, what kind of shoes you got on? You probably
I'm gonna take this
you
watch
like
off because it's going to really hurt if those handcuffs pinch against that watch.
Oh yeah. Well, the way you able to engage with me as a cop
Look at this
is
one over
that's
here,
why
my
I
truck.
ain't good. I ain't good at being one because if you engage well enough and use
one right here.
cooperative,
We're gonna get
tell
on
me
the
about
passenger
this
side.
accident. If we could have got all that figured out, you come up with a citation and we go along. But
Watch your head getting in. I'll turn the air on for you, okay?
hey, whoever he's with these days, his name Kristen Cavallari, say he don't like a good J. What can I tell you? What can I say? For me, just for me, I would love to know what county he served his 3 days in, because he already served his 3 days. If I read it right, he didn't serve those and he out. He out, Chelsea. He already out of those things right there. But let's say Jay was in the world of social media appearances. Yeah, he lived in Tennessee. Those in Franklin County right there. I'm just saying, like, you had to go down to Franklin County Jail and stay in, or that they try to do something a little. They send you down to a state. I didn't read details because I'm a Jay Cutler apologist. People be like, oh, I don't like him. He don't do this. He a jerky surly. I don't care. Can he spin a football? And he can spin one with the best of them. And those are the things I cared about with Jay. I never really cared about the outside noise. Unfortunately, I am a little hasty because I thought at least by 7 games in, I would be able to anoint my new quarterback as being the best quarterback that I've ever had in my history. At the moment, we are going to have to hold reserve on that. And we are going to have to allow Jay Christopher Cutler to be my A1 top tier quarterback. And Now see, I only see him on IG for on his little hunting excursions. I know Jay likes to hunt, so I'm not a big game hunter, but I know he likes to get out there. IG Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler has Instagram, some shit like that. What's Jay's name out there? Excuse me. And as far as a podcast with Jay, Jay is more of a I think me and Jay would have very polarizing conversations because Jay sticks to a very small playbook. Yeah, if Jay Cutler had Instagram. Yeah. It's dope. Like, I don't know, Chelsea, that was my favorite quarterback. Right now, I'm tempted just to, give me a Jay Cutler jersey. And I'm tempted to really find out, should I go to Cincinnati? Should I go to Cincinnati? You understand? Because if I go to Cincinnati, the Bears might get a win. And I'm all about wins. I want the Bears to get a dub. I want my offense to look like something this week because we can't sustain another shitty performance that will render us, or render me feeling drunk on the sidelines over here. I think that to circle back to social medias and things like that, drinking and everything like that wouldn't be something that is totally permissible in terms of being monetized over here on the YouTube space, I would presume. And so if you were to continuously be involved in run-ins with the law like this, would those in fact be reasons or grounds for people to pull your social media experiment, pull the plug on your monetizations of things, or just demonetize you and allow you to continue on being a content creator like everybody else? Let me know what you think about those particular thoughts. Paul Pierce, Adrian Peterson, Jay Cutler. Athletes and the bottle. When you got a private estate like some of these guys have, you should have a private driver. But I do understand that people do so much and you want to do all your dirt in front of you and you alone. You don't want people around to try to corroborate it. So he don't want a driver. But I say you got enough space and enough land to stay out of these sticky situations so that you don't have to prove your innocence or be presumed guilty by anybody's merit or metric. With that being said, this ugly mug of mine will be seen just for a little bit of time. You know, you gotta let somebody see your face. Maybe you do. Maybe you do. And we're gonna do it like this. Real big. This is how we'll do it. I appreciate your conversation as always, Chelsea. We will have to figure out exactly the way. And I'm so sad that we were not linked in and locked in already when the Bears played the Cowboys week 3. But any week that you would like to join me and possibly do a little bit of play-by-play if you are watching a game, if I have a national game, if there's a different time slot that we want to talk about sports, let's interview Chelsea Lynn and see where we agree and disagree on sports. So let's lock in, link in, and try to figure out exactly what it is you and I can collaborate on and make G Honda look foolish in the process. Like I said, I enjoy listening to you play-by-play about things. I think you got a different perspective or outlook on sport than I may have, and it will give me an opportunity to possibly and potentially talk sports. And this is not intended to be sexist, but may sound sexist. Give me the opportunity to talk with a young lady who I believe has a foothold and a grasping of knowledge when it comes to the world of sports. Can't recall anybody that fits that bill in my personal life. So it'd be great for us to sit back. Even if it's not game day, maybe we'll figure out what we can do throughout the week. So, if you will, MAB, not MAB, it's mailbox. I changed it up for y'all. I'm a bot, and don't worry about me. But mailboxsports3 at yahoo.com. Go ahead, if you will, shoot me an email. We will attempt to put our brains together, possibly some Chad Shishipi, and we can figure out exactly what it is we can do. We might even let the tyrant join us. So maybe we'll do a sports trivia of sorts. If we can get us a host, that's what we'll do. The Big Three, a sports trivia show. We'll touch all bases. Let's work on a couple things. That's one of my ideas for you. That being said, we're going to get on out of here. Time to get prepped and get ready for the granddaughter to come here, Chelsea, you cracked me up earlier today when you said 1994. Give you a fun fact. I know a certain mailman that had a daughter that was born in 94 in March. Just saying. Nonetheless, until next delivery, we're going to get all of the eye boogers out of my face and stop looking bad on camera. Stay out the cold rain. Stay inside. Get you some cocoa. Talk to your boy later on, and we will see you on Sunday. Check out the new videos we dropping. We got questions about NBA season. Until next time, have a nice day. Posty is out. T-Miles, it happens, man. It's a shorter day for us out there. The replays always live on, and the replays help me out just as much as the live. I know the live is way easier to engage with, but check the replay. If you got any questions, anything to add to the discussion, anything that I may have missed, go ahead and drop that for me, T, as usual. Pull up on me Sunday. I will do a better job of getting posts out. Hit those notification buttons, everybody. Hit that like button. Always happy to see you pull up. But we're going to get it together. You know how it go. Get better, Caleb. Get better, Will. Get healthy, secondary. Get better, pass rush. Get better, pre-snap penalties. Let's see it. Coach them up. Get it right. See you Sunday. We'll talk to you. Let's go.